Welcome, No DQ Galaxy, and we are back with a brand new No DQ review. And I am Virtue, being joined by the rest of the No DQ A team: Aaron Rift, Greg Cherry, and Jeff Meacham. Aaron Rift, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Glad to have the regular No DQ review team back this week after a couple of weeks of controversy behind the scenes. But it's typical No DQ when you got some chaos and uncertainties. But I'm glad we're all here today.
It's mayhem! It's mayhem!
It is literally mayhem here on NoDQ.com, just like the old days. But we'll see how this video goes. I'm looking forward to some of the topics. Plenty of material to rant about, that's for sure.
Greg Cherry, PA sensation, wrestling trivia champion. What's up?
Yes. Well, not only the Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion, but the longest reigning Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion in history as far as days go.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Single reign?
Single reign, yes.
Okay, all right.
Longest single reign, yep.
All right, okay. All right.
That's cool. And
I'm
you know
not sure
what?
there for a second.
I think he plans on extending
I
that.
still got like 3.5 months to catch up to your total, so.
Are you aiming for Bruno Sammartino level reign?
Well, it's a Pittsburgh thing. You got to have the longest reign, so.
Okay. Jeff, how's it going?
With Pittsburgh, their sports teams aren't doing well. They got to do something for Pittsburgh, right? Says the guy who's teaming out the first round of the playoffs. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right, I'm going to seal this back. I'm opening the soda on the air because Bruce Pritchard stole it from Extreme Mayhem, so I'm sealing it back.
I like to call it pop.
Yeah, exactly. Pop a top like we used to do in the old days. Bruce Pritchard can kiss my ass. Tell him
All
I
right,
said
well,
so too. Please
Jeff,
email Brother Love and tell him I said kiss my ass.
Are you ready to start? You got anything else to catch up with the No DQ Galaxy?
I am just loving the fact that I did talk wrestling live today, and Virtue was in there briefly for the chat, and it was awesome to be back on the air. And it's been a rough couple of weeks. I will be honest with you. My son's mom's going. Aaron knows about this, and I think Greg does too. There's some personal stuff going on with her being in the hospital. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but we're back on track. Things are good. Let's do the thing.
All right. Well, here we go. I want to talk about final thoughts. I know it's been several days, but we might have some more backlash on WWE Backlash. So I gave it a C+. I think, Jeff, you were right there with that. Aaron gave it a D or a D+. I think it was a D+.
D+ player.
Regardless of those grades, they're low. I mean, if it's a good show, people are going to give it an A or a B or a B+. So we are in the era of status quo WWE programming, and I don't even know now if we're hitting status quo. So looking at the card, we saw the fans loved Miz and Rollins. It went about 20 plus minutes on the hot opener. AJ and Shin to be continued again, which is crazy because how do you do that on a no DQ match? And then of course, this is the big one here, Roman and Joe going on last ahead of the, WWE Championship match, which seems to never get respect anymore, and people walking out on Roman Reigns. So I want each one of your thoughts, and if there's something else from the pay-per-view that was absolutely horrible or something you might have liked, let me know. Aaron, I want to start with you. I know you've talked about this, but the internet backlash has been pretty negative.
And I think it's justified. I think this entire week was quite lackluster, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not sure what to expect in the future. I'm hoping, as usual, that things will get better and maybe we'll see WWE shift gears and give us some compelling television, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I feel like it will continue to be status quo. I do think the Chicago weekend will be strong. I think the NXT show will be great as usual. The card is really starting to shape up nicely. Money in the Bank traditionally is a really good pay-per-view, and I think this year will also be good, although last year was a bit of a train wreck with the whole James Ellsworth fiasco. But I'm hoping that at least Money in the Bank will be solid. The pay-per-view after that, I think, is Extreme Rules, but I'm not 100% sure. It's either Extreme Rules or Battleground, one of those pay-per-views. And then we have SummerSlam, which should be good. But overall, things are looking pretty bleak for the rest of the year. And we've talked about this before. WWE is in a position where they can basically do what they want. They got all that money from Saudi Arabia. Virtue, you mentioned this. The stock is at an all-time high right now. Business is hot. WWE is making money, and as long as they're making money, they will continue to follow their formula and just stick to what works for them. And I don't see anything changing creatively, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty down about the state of WWE right now. Jeff, how are you feeling about things?
You know, I mentioned this on Talk Wrestling Live this week. The fact of the matter is, they don't have Vince in the office doesn't have a need to change anything.
Yeah.
Because no matter how much the four of us sit here, or the four of you and I'm not here, whatever, it doesn't matter how many of us sit here and bitch and complain and moan, we're still subscribed to the network. You're still getting our $10 a month. We're still going. Aaron's going to Money in the Bank and showing all kinds of money to go to Chicago and put money into the economy there, and they're spending money to do. The message needs to be sent in some way. We don't want this anymore. We're not going to your shows. We're not going to buy your merchandise. But it's never going to happen. The machine will continue to flow. CM Punk, the Chicago guy himself, sat on that stage in Vegas when I was there live. We are just cogs in the machine, and it'll go on without us. And I understand that. That's how it's always going to be. As long as there is enough people paying McMahon for the network access and watching on TV and creating ratings and attending live shows, he will never feel the need to be battling, because he's not battling anymore. He's not in a fight for his company and his life existence, because WCW is gone. ECW was never a threat. TNA tried so hard, as hard as they could, I guess, and it didn't work. Vince will never have that proverbial kick in the ass again. I don't care what New Japan does in this country. It will never happen. So as long as that is the status quo, we get status quo crap shows. Backlash was what it was. But the fact that people actually got up and started to leave the arena during the last match of the night, which featured Roman Reigns, let's point out, is very telling. Now, I'm not blaming that on Roman Reigns entirely. But the fact of the matter is, I've said this for a long time, it's the same thing happened with Cena. If people were legitimately sick of Cena, there wouldn't be hundreds and thousands of kids, in the arenas with the towels or shirts, and the adults too. The fact of the matter is, cheering and jeering people is a cool thing to do. It's not about intentional, purposeful dislike or like. It's cool to boo Roman. Everybody else does it.
Yeah.
The company doesn't care about reaction. They do care about indifference.
Now, Jeff, people walking out on Roman after he beat Joe, they already paid. They walked out, right? Disrespectful, and it's giving, all these people that dislike Roman now, it's giving them more, hey, look what's happening. But the fact is they all bought a ticket to be at that event, and it doesn't matter if you walk out early, you still paid. Greg, thoughts on Backlash or anything that Aaron or Jeff just discussed?
I don't think it's fair to say that it doesn't matter if they bought the ticket and they walked out. If you buy a ticket and during the last match of the night you walk out, that's a statement, one way or the other.
It's a statement if they don't buy a ticket to the next event and the event after that. That's when it matters.
That's what I'm saying.
But I get what you're saying. Go ahead.
My point is, if it was one or two people walking out, then, not that big a difference. I mean, who can tell in a crowd of 15,000, one or two people leave. But if you have thousands of people heading for the exit, even if it's just to beat the traffic, which was a crowd chant for crying out loud in the main event, beat the traffic, then that should tell you something. It's like, we don't want to watch Roman in the main event. If he's on a different place on the card, that's fine. But you're making this guy more important than your top championship, because your top champion on Raw isn't there other than 5 or 6 pay-per-views of the year to defend his title. So Raw is the problem I have with the Raw brand as a whole is that they are portrayed as better than SmackDown. And that was the case with the original brand split too, even though they're not. But SmackDown, as much crap as people give the Road Dogg, give the guy a break. Because you know what? He's putting on matches that we would much rather see than on the Raw side. Why? Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe, yes, big-time match. Does it deserve to be the main event? No, because it's not for the championship. If it was for the Universal title, different story. We would get that. But the fact that a non-title match with barely any build-up, this is not like a year feud that went on. It was just Joe coming back right after WrestleMania, challenging Roman Reigns, and that's all that was. They just cut promos on each other, no physicality from what I remember. It's like, okay, so your standard run-of-the-mill I want to fight you. Okay, I'll fight you. Let's fight. I mean, there's no story behind it, and that main evented what some people are calling one of the worst pay-per-views since, I'm trying to think December to Dismember. Like, that bad? It was probably worse, honestly, because at least December to Dismember had the Elimination Chamber.
Jeff, you've said this before. There's Aaron and everybody. There's so much TV. It's so watered down with 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. When you get to a pay-per-view and nothing special happens, this is what happens. You get the backlash for worst pay-per-view in recent memory. So I blame Vince McMahon, WWE Creative, but then again, if they're making money, if their stock's at an all-time high, let's transition to this. We did briefly just talk about people walking out on Roman, so we'll check that off the list. But the WWE stock, Aaron, you brought it up. It's at an all-time high. And if you look at the market cap with all the shares, at $42, $43 a share, we're talking a $3 billion plus worth. Now, is that the profits WWE sitting on? No. If you go to the government page, completely different. So, if they could sell every share at that price, that's what it's worth. We are in the era of the WWE Network and the international era. And apparently, going to Saudi Arabia, getting big-time cash, makes up for having low house show attendance, low TV ratings, right. Merch sales bumping down a little bit. Their Q1 revenue did not meet WWE's goals. Now, were their goals and forecasts too high? And here's the thing. I want to see what their bottom line is the last 2 years, every quarter, versus what it was during its heyday in the most popular time of the Attitude Era. Something's making Vince McMahon money. So, Aaron, starting with you, Vince can obviously pull out $100 million and throw it at a probably failed XFL 2.0 attempt. If this is happening, and there's no, WWE is making money, what's it going to take for him to change the product? You know what I mean? Like, I know we're not all financial experts here, but let's give our thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like, unfortunately, the only way things are going to change is when Vince is no longer in charge. And I hate to say it, but that will probably be the day he dies. So for people that don't like the current direction of WWE, I think it's going to stay the way it is until Vince is out of the picture. Once Triple H takes over, maybe it'll change. Maybe Triple H will make it more appealing to the diehard fans. But at the same time, even Triple H has stated in interviews that NXT is the way it is because he knows it's for the most hardcore fans, and on the main roster you have to take a different approach to it. So even with Triple H in charge, I don't know how much things are really going to change. To me, that's a really big question mark. But until that happens, I think as long as Vince McMahon is running the show, it's going to be business as usual. Greg, what do you think?
I mean, you're exactly right that it probably won't change until Vince McMahon is dead. Again, quoting the CM Punk promo from 2011.
It's like Al Davis for the Oakland Raiders, Jerry Jones for the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. We can make a bunch more sports references, but Aaron won't get them.
Sorry.
It's all right.
We're not sorry, actually. We're trying to be nice.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. But the thing is, I don't know who to blame more. Whether I blame Vince McMahon, who has the final say, or I blame the creative team, who, for crying out loud, can you not come up with an original feud idea? Like, Alexa versus Nia, maybe not original. It was a little twist on what it could have been. I actually enjoyed that feud going into WrestleMania more than I enjoyed the build-up to AJ Nakamura for WrestleMania. Because AJ Nakamura is obviously going to be the best wrestling match, but it's like, come on, I want to be invested in this storyline. Another example, Triple H, Randy Orton, WrestleMania 25. Fantastic build-up. Promos, everything. They wanted to kill each other, and the match was obviously terrible. But you need to get us invested. Why do we want to see these two fight? Why do we want to see these feuds happen? That's why CM Punk was a big deal in 2011, because he made us care. He made us want to see him, not to pull off the Undisputed Era, but shock the system. We wanted to see something different, and maybe it's just become too stagnant to the point that can we get anything different, even with some of the producers that WWE has? Jeff?
The fact of the matter is, the most organic turn of events to ever happen in recent WWE history, it was a complete fluke. Bryan was not in the 2014 Royal Rumble after being cashed in on at SummerSlam the previous year, and the fans revolted. And they stood up and they said, no, we want him. And the office went, okay, we'll give you him. Of course, he got hurt. It didn't work out in the long run. Right. Creative will not change because Vince McMahon, I go back to that promo in March of 2001 that he cut the night the Nitro ended. The only way to beat a billionaire is become one yourself. Nobody, I don't care, unless they get some sort of complete out-of-the-blue funding, nobody is going to rise up from the ashes of what was WCW, ECW, and now TNA's, whatever they're doing. Nobody's going to step up and go, Vince, I've got money, I've got this talent, let's see what happens. Nobody has the financial resources, or quite frankly, and I'm going to kiss Vince's ass completely here, I'm going to join the club right now, nobody has Vince's chutzpah. They don't have the balls to say, I'm better than you. The Bucks do. Cody Rhodes does. But they don't have the financial resources to back it up. They're going to fill a 10,000-seat arena, and that's, not to be graphic, but they're going to blow their wad on that show. And then where do they go from there?
Yeah. Mark Cuban, if you're watching, I know you're a wrestling fan, be the next Ted Turner.
Mark Cuban had Ring of Honor on his network and let him get away.
Interesting. Well, and Jeff, think about in the last 10 years, some very, very creative feuds. Something to spice up what we had. Jericho and Shawn Michaels. Very creative. Letting CM Punk do what he did. CM Punk and Jericho had a great feud heading into WrestleMania 28 with the alcohol storyline. Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania 30. Something's in place in WWE. People are there that can make things interesting. Why is nobody stepping up to the plate? Are people afraid of Vince McMahon? There's no personalities backstage anymore. Russo used to stand up to McMahon. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, they would challenge creative direction. But nobody's bigger than the WWE, Greg.
The thing with the Shawn Michaels Chris Jericho feud is that was not a WWE creative written storyline. That was Jericho and Michaels, two fantastic minds putting that entire thing together. That's why it works so great, because wrestlers know how to work a wrestling feud.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. And WWE needs to open the doors for the talents that can do that, and they're not. They want to castrate them. They want to put the handcuffs on them and send Roman out through the curtain like Vince McMahon drew up on the board in the back. Yep. And that's what fans are revolting against. Any other thoughts before we move on this? Because I think we could talk another 20 minutes on this topic.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, there's really nobody with the star power to stand up to Vince and challenge his creative approach, because back in 97, 98, somebody like Steve Austin could, because Vince desperately needed Steve Austin. If Steve Austin was out of the picture, WWE would be in a lot of trouble back in 1997. But now, pretty much everybody is replaceable. Even somebody like John Cena. Yeah, WWE might take a hit in the merchandise department, but like you said, Virtue, WWE has all these different avenues for revenue that it doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't matter if one area of business collapses. They have so many different streams of money coming in that the company's pretty much invincible as a corporation in America can get.
Invincible.
And to quickly follow up your point, Aaron, sorry, Jeff, I didn't want to forget this. Even CM Punk couldn't get what he wanted and left the company. So that's a great point, Aaron.
Yeah.
We've read it in the books the last 17 years or whatever it's been since WCW went away. Everybody that's been in business during the time of the WWE's existence has been out not to succeed, but to beat the WWE at their game. And when Bischoff did it, they panicked. Oh my God, we're beating WWE. It is never about beating the competition. You have to be good within yourself. You have to challenge yourself. If you don't challenge yourself, then if you don't care about your own product, nobody else is going to care about it either. And in fact, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Vince cares about his product to this day. At the end of the day, he's still that young wrestling fan that grew up, in his father's lofty shadow. Let's be honest about Vince Sr. But he like you guys said, there's WWE has their fingers and their toes in so many different pools of entertainment and revenue now. They're not this wrestling family-owned company that has to beat the giant corporate machine that is Ted Turner. Now he's the corporate machine. They've got movie producers, and they got so many different things going on. Vince doesn't have to care about the bottom line because the bottom line will always be there in one shape, form, or another.
And the last tally had the WWE Network over 2 million subscribers. Granted, 500,000 of those are probably free subscriptions, and you don't know how many will carry over, but bringing in money constantly.
Just think about that. If you've got 2 million people paying $10 a month, that's $20 million a month right at the top of the revenue stream.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why do you have to care about anything else? You think $20 million a month just right that alone.
Yep.
And USA Network, I mean, the advertisers are still paying Raw. Now, would that percentage of advertising rights be higher if the ratings were 4.5? Probably. But, it hasn't. It went down to a level that they're still going to get a certain amount of money from the advertisers.
I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast a couple weeks ago. I'm giving Bischoff a cheap plug because I like this podcast.
Oh, man.
But it's a good podcast. The fact of the matter is, people are freaking out that the numbers are so low. These numbers 25 years ago would have had people making a mess in their pants. Oh, my God, the numbers are so high. But now 3s and 4s are like, ooh, this is not good. Yeah. I remember the first Nitro versus Raw was a 2.5 versus a 2.2.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. When the ratings would take a hit, Vince would panic, and the next week they would put on a really tremendous show. Now it doesn't matter.
Same with Bischoff.
You see the ratings take a hit. Yeah, Bischoff would totally freak out. But now, if the ratings drop, Vince doesn't react anymore. They don't shake things up. It's just business as usual. The ratings are not important anymore.
Yep, I agree. Well, again, like I said, we could talk another 20 minutes on this topic, but moving on. So we are in another era of Raw and SmackDown brand split, and we've had a few GMs already. Current general managers of Raw, Kurt Angle, now of SmackDown, Paige. We still have the commissioners in place, even though we really haven't seen them. Stephanie on Raw, Shane on SmackDown. So I want to go around the horn and get your thoughts, especially with Paige. How is she doing as GM? Is it I think it's been a little cringeworthy. Then again, I might need more time to assess this. Greg, I will start with you. Basically what I just said about the GMs and the commissioners, and should we see Steph and Shane a little bit more?
No, I think if you put the commissioners on screen more than they need to be, then they overshadow the general managers. The general managers are supposed to be the week-to-week people, really in there getting the job done. With Paige, I mean, she's never had an authority figure thing before. I mean, she's, 24, 25 years old, around there, so she's never had to play the authority-type figure. Kurt Angle has done it before, and, of course, I love Kurt Angle. Who doesn't love Kurt Angle? And he can still go in the ring, crying out loud. He was just in the best match at WrestleMania this year. So I don't think we need to see Shane, as much as I enjoy Shane, or Stephanie more than we absolutely have to, unless they need to be there for a purpose. If they're just there to talk, then it's completely useless. But if they're helping to build something up, then that's when they should be on the shows. Other than that, leave it to the GMs.
All right. Well, good point. And I guess here's my problem with Paige. Not that she's a female. I'm all for Stephanie's been the biggest authority figure on WWE TV for years, right? So we've had that. There's big shoes to fill. I know it's a lesser role, but Vicky Guerrero did a hell of a job as an on-screen character and got heat. Now, I know Paige is more of, a goody two-shoes right now, but she's coming out, and trying to look nice, makeup, the whole ordeal. I don't feel an authority presence from her. I feel like she's just coming out and stating what she was told to say in the back. That's the problem. If they're going to make her a GM, let her act like one. Aaron.
That's a great point. I think with Paige, it's just a situation where they need something for her to do until the movie comes out. They want to keep her on television, and that's why she's doing the GM role, and really no other reason behind it. I feel she's doing an okay job, but like you said, it would be better if it felt more authentic. It really doesn't. As far as Shane goes, I believe Shane had his hernia surgery, and that's why he's off television right now. I could see him coming back in a couple of weeks or whenever he's healed up. Stephanie, if she doesn't return for a year, I will be happy. I think I've seen enough Stephanie for now. Jeff, your thoughts?
we've been saying enough of the McMahon family for 20 years to come. It's like every time we think they're going to go away and not be authority figures, here they come again. Just kidding. We fool you. Like, okay, guys, we get it. You run the company. You're in charge. Let your GMs handle business.
Yeah.
That's why when Vince was off being genetic jackhammer and Mick Foley was commissioner, it worked. There was no Vince every week. It worked. It did work, I promise. And Paige being the GM, it's very much like a pity thing. Okay, well, Bryan was hurt, so he's GM, but now you're hurt, so you can be GM instead. It's like, okay. So when Paige comes back from injury, does that mean they're going to have Edge come back and do, oh, wait, no, he's hurt. Okay, so I have Stone Cold do it. Oh, wait, no. How about we get a GM that's actually looks like they've had GM experience? Get some, God forbid they bring Eric Bischoff back, but somebody like that,
Greg.
The thing is, and this goes back to our earlier topic, and this has been a pain point for years and years and years. They need to stop scripting the promos word for word.
Yep.
When I was working the indies, I didn't have a script to go off of.
Me neither.
I was told, talk about this, say whatever the hell else you want.
Yep.
And you know what?
I've seen some of your videos. Guess what? The crowd responded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? That's all you need. You need to be able. Sorry, Jeff, didn't mean to cut you off, but that's true. You need to be able to have that connection with the crowd. If you're just robotic and you're just saying what they told you to say, there's no connection. We don't get it. We don't care what you're saying, even though it sounds good. Like AJ versus Bryan, yay, that sounds good. But it's like if we don't feel that personal connection, if we don't feel like this GM is fighting for us, they want to show what we want to see. It has been such a dagger for so many years, but I don't know when they're going to let that go.
Greg, you and I, and now Virtue's involved too. You have to go out there and engage the crowd. You can't go out there, well, the office told me, so here's what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to say it. No. If the crowd's not buying into what the office wants you to say, you got to move with it. And the fact of the matter is, the current authority figures on TV, including the McMahons, don't roll with that punch.
Yeah. And, performing in front of a small indie crowd of 100, 150 people, if you can get them to respond to you, WWE should be able to get an arena of 10,000 people. I'm being modest here. Because what happens is if something's good and you get people, then the people next to them start, and it becomes a chain reaction. I mean, it's that simple. And again, Aaron, this is all you right here. I know you love the shows when the crowd's engaged more into them. And again, you have them. You don't want them to hijack the show, but you have them to make the show look better. Figure out ways to do it.
Right. Like Montreal was a great crowd because they were invested in the show. Yeah. But then Long Island, they were more occupied with the guy getting engaged to his girlfriend and beach balls and whatnot. Not a no-DQ beach ball. If it was a no-DQ beach ball, I'd say, yeah, cool. But apparently it was just some random beach ball.
All right, we're talking about creative, and everything segues to the next topic. We're now on the topic of the low blow, no cups, the WWE Championship, the most prized, storied prize, however you would say it, Jeff, in the game today. WWE Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Now, great for AJ holding on to this title. What am I missing here? Like, I think with the Nakamura heel turn, I absolutely think it's protecting him greatly with his, I guess, Japanese, American, because the no speak English is great. Like, where's the T-shirts for that? It's protecting him. I like it. It's giving him a heel edge. I think it's time now that he could have the belt and be protected. I know Vince, I know the corporate, they always like their champion to be protected, not come out there and not be able to say a word or die in front of the crowd, even though, Roman Reigns. So, Aaron, let's start with you. This low blow saga, where is it all going to lead? Can Shinsuke Nakamura become the WWE champion? Or now are we going to get twisted with all of this because Money in the Bank now?
Well, I'm not sure what role Samoa Joe is going to play in this storyline because he was not on SmackDown this week. I'm wondering if he will be the third man and there'll be a triple threat at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Another AJ Styles Nakamura match sounds kind of boring to me, to be honest, and maybe it's just the writing because I think the two of them are capable of having a great match. I just see it as the storytelling has been subpar. And the problem with Backlash was that at the Greatest Royal Rumble, we had a double count out. Then they make it no DQ, and then they have both guys being knocked out via low blows. So again, 2 matches in a row with no winner. I think people are fed up with the feud, and I know for me personally, I'm ready for the next feud. I don't know if Joe's going to be at it or not, but maybe they'll do a triple threat, and maybe Nakamura will backdoor his way into a WWE title run. What do you think, Archie?
Well, now I was gonna pass it on, but listen, this is exactly what I'm seeing with your statement here. So everybody wanted to see, at least the hardcore wrestling fans, AJ and Nakamura feud. Nakamura won the Royal Rumble. This was going to be the big match at WrestleMania. It was going to steal the show. Now we're talking about watered down. I don't want to see another match. What difference is that from Roman and Lesnar? But people, you know what I mean? This is where we're at. You proved, Aaron, that it's WWE. It's creative.
Right.
It's not necessarily the performers. Roman's boring to people. Change him up. Have him come out and give the bird to the crowd. Yeah, it's rehash of Stone Cold. Jeff?
Well, now behind that big pile of crap to hold. I don't understand the booking at all for this feud. I don't understand why, as he's been documented on air as being the greatest in-ring worker of this generation, is in a feud with arguably the biggest star to come out of that country, Japan, the country of Japan, in how many years that's crossed over to the WWE. They're having a feud where they're trading cock shots. Like, really? Really? Is that what we're reduced to in 2018? We have the greatest in-ring worker of our generation versus the king of strong style, and they're trading ball shots. Why? Why is this happening? It makes no sense. Now, again, this goes back to my conspiracy theory guy in the back of my head. Vince gets off on stupid stuff like this.
Probably.
The fact of the matter is, nobody would have even cared that Titus did that spaz at the Greatest Rumble if they hadn't replayed it 200 times.
I thought it was funny the first time it happened.
Well, the internet would have exploded. It would have exploded on the internet.
Right, but you know what? Nobody saw the original shot. The fact was, Vince saw it, got in Michael Cole's ear. Michael Cole responded, and then took off. Vince, Mr. McMahon, the character, gets off on ruining people's lives. Vince gets off on the stupidest stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact is, he has his champion and someone contender trading shots to the nuts. That's so funny.
Yeah,
We're in high school. It's like, come on.
Yeah, the toilet humor, just like Camp WWE.
Toilet humor. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna sit in the next to Aaron here. Camp WWE is awful. Just
I love
awful.
you, Jeff. You're awesome.
I don't watch it, so I don't know.
I tried so hard because Aaron, same thing. I watched the first show and whatever. I gave it a chance. I started watching more episodes. I'm like, it gets worse and worse.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate somebody being on my side. It's nice.
All right, Greg, I'm going to pass it to you with good old Shin and good old the phenomenal one, AJ.
You know, the problem I have with that, and with the booking sheet that we saw, Jamie Noble was the producer of that match.
Right.
Jamie Noble also was a producer of the 2015 Royal Rumble match.
Ooh.
We know how well that turned out.
Right.
That was the most god awful Rumble, because halfway through, like, you weren't even to entrance 16 and everybody knew who was going to win. Like, everybody just gave up at the Rumble at that point. It's like, if you have people giving up on a match and you don't even have half the participants in there yet, there's a problem. Keep Jamie Noble away from booking.
Which boggles my mind, because Jamie Noble was in the trenches competing with AJ and Bryan in Ring of Honor. So he knows what it takes to do stuff like this.
I know. I don't know what the fact that a no disqualification match went to a double countout, that might have been their own fault for painting themselves into a corner by making it a no disqualification match. It's like, okay, well, how do we make both people look like they're still contenders? It's like, oh, I don't know. You could have a strong freaking match. Like, maybe a deep finish or something where somebody steals a pin, and like maybe you continue the feud with Nakamura, like rolling up the tights or something on AJ, and like it's just so, it was so confusing. And you know what? Cards on the table, that was the only match I watched on Backlash.
Oh,
Backlash just looked to me on paper like, you know what? I really don't feel like I have to see this pay-per-view. And you know what? I was right.
We should at least watch Rollins versus Miz.
I'll go back and watch Rollins versus Miz, because I heard that was excellent.
That was a great match.
But the rest of the pay-per-view, I think I'll be fine I don't have to see it.
And let me just jump in and praise Seth Rollins and The Miz. They're having an unbelievable first half of this year. They are kicking ass every show they go on.
And this is a impromptu topic, Seth Rollins. Now they're pushing it. You hear Michael Cole saying the hottest thing, everybody's starting to chant, what's his slogan? Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down, yep.
When he was pushed, with the authority as the heel champ, got hurt, came back, and they initially turned him babyface, and it really didn't quite work out. Is this or the organic babyface now, Seth Rollins? And why doesn't WWE, Aaron, I want to start with you. Why doesn't WWE see these things when the fans are hot for something? Like Rusev Day. Why? Because it's Vince and he didn't forecast it?
Well, maybe with Rusev, something will happen now. The fact that he beat Daniel Bryan. And you know what's funny? I was reading some of the social media comments and people were upset about Rusev beating Daniel Bryan clean. And I'm like, you guys have been wanting to see Rusev pushed for the longest time. He finally gets a big win, and you're complaining still? That's what gives the internet fans a bad name. They were wanting to see Rusev get a push. He's finally getting a push now, and you complain because it's Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan is an underdog. That is his character. It's okay for him to lose every now and then. They had that long shot after the match of him just sitting there distraught, and that's going to play into him eventually winning the WWE title. It's all about the chase. Daniel Bryan is an underdog. He's got to fight and claw his way back to the top. It's not just going to be handed to him in one fell swoop. So I think the fans got it wrong, the people that are complaining about Rusev beating Daniel Bryan. I thought that was the one great thing about SmackDown. Seth Rollins, I feel like that guy has several things going for him. Number one, the finisher, the stomp coming back. That is an awesome finisher. The crowd loves it. It's a cool-looking move. I'm glad that's back. I think that's helping him. The Nitro pants were not doing him any favors, but at least he got rid of those. And he's just been having great matches. And the Burn It Down thing has actually caught on really well with the fans, and that's become part of his entrance and his persona now. He's doing the Shawn Michaels Burn It Down stomp on the ground to get people fired up, and it's working really well for him. A combination of things. Rollins could end up being the guy. Rollins and Strowman could be carrying Raw in the next 6 months if things don't change with Roman Reigns soon. But again, will WWE actually change things up with Reigns or not? That remains to be seen. Greg, your thoughts on Rollins and Rusev?
Rollins is definitely, and he's always been a workhorse. I mean, give him crap for injuring Finn at SummerSlam a couple years ago, but you know what? That was an accident, and Finn told you it was his fault too because he didn't reach correctly or whatever. But
what about Sting and Cena?
Well,
I know. Again, accidents happen, and it's the style of wrestling today. So I'm one of those. I agree with you, Jeff. You can't put all that on Rollins. I just brought it up.
Yeah, and I enjoy watching Seth Rollins wrestle. I mean, his series of matches with Finn Balor, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And they were non-title matches for the most part. And they just tear the house down every time they face each other. I would like to see them face off if Finn Balor were to turn heel at some point, because that would be a different dynamic to that match that wasn't added before. But of course, if Finn Balor turned heel and it was a title on the line, then they'd probably just be trading nut shots like AJ and Nakamura. So I don't know.
Jeff, thoughts?
We have,
go ahead.
Greg just hit it around the head. We have lost faith in the company's ability to properly promote their champions.
That is very true.
They have the guy who, it's not a BS when he says the greatest in-ring worker. He's been the best guy in the ring, him and Bryan, the last 15 years. He's on top of the mountain in WWE, and he's literally retaining his title by getting kicked in the nuts or hit in the nuts. And then you've got the other guy on the Raw side who appears, he's on the Hulk Hogan arrival schedule. It works for him though. I'm not going to knock it. It is what it is. Seth Rollins. I had somebody tell me on Talk Wrestling when I filmed it, the live show, that I called Seth Rollins being champion in 2010 when he had just signed. So I'll pat myself on the back because he's been an amazing, and he's had a great year so far. He is. If they give a fan superstar of the year or whatever the Slammies, that he's been the MVP up to. I mean, we're in mid-May. He's been the MVP of the year so far. Him and Miz and Balor to a certain extent also. those three guys are carrying the rest of this lump on their back because they're producing every single night of the week.
What about Nicholas?
You know,
hey, you know what? Nicholas has been in champion WWE more times than I have.
There you go.
well, I don't know how soon Ambrose is coming back, but he needs the biggest character development, and I hope he becomes a heel.
And I pray above prayer they don't go, oh, he put the Shield back together. Leave the Shield apart. They tried it twice on the comeback. Something happened both times. Let the Shield rest in peace once and for all. They don't
let Dean come back with attitude. Greg?
Exactly. Yes, Greg.
My prediction, Dean Ambrose comes back the night after SummerSlam and attacks either Ambrose or Reigns.
Oh, I would love that so much.
Hey, my prediction, Dean Ambrose comes back and he's exactly the same character as he was as a babyface.
No, you know what? The really crappy part is Aaron's 100% right.
Yeah. I'd love to see
fantasy booking. I might as well play 2K18.
Well, people are getting on my case. This is a little off topic, but people are getting on my case about saying everybody should turn heel. I feel like half of the guys could benefit from a heel turn. The baby faces suck, and there's no good heels. Like, everybody is in the wrong role, in my opinion. I feel like there are very few guys that are doing well in their current roles. Bryan's doing well. Strowman's doing well. There's a few other guys that are doing well, but there's a lot of guys, like we said, Rollins is doing well, but guys like Bobby Roode, I think he needs a heel turn. Obviously, Roman Reigns is the big one. And I feel Becky Lynch could use a heel turn on SmackDown. She's going nowhere. There's just so many characters where I feel like you flip them, they would be doing a lot better. And Ambrose
it's character development, Aaron. Character development. And, I mean, we've seen it with when Hulk Hogan got stagnant as Hulkamania, which who would have thought that would have happened? Vince McMahon obviously thought. But Bischoff said, we're going to turn him heel. Bret Hart turning heel. Pro-Canadian, anti-American, and that really launched. Steve Austin was supposed to be the heel, right?
Yeah, The Rock.
The Rock became a huge babyface after that. Just, it works. The model that we talk about where, Aaron might say heel, turn. It works.
Yeah, even the New Day. It doesn't have to
be long-term.
The New Day.
You could turn...
Look at the New Day. They were these lame baby faces. They went heel and they got red hot. Granted, they've gone stale again, but for a couple of years they were really hot because they turned heel and it developed their characters.
Yep.
After talking with Becky Lynch at Mick Foley's one-man show, as far as her heel turn, I'll say stay tuned. As far as Bobby Roode went from the NXT bully heel champion to dancing in a freaking conga line after DDTing who the hell he DDT'd? Elias, thank you. Bobby Roode is in a conga line.
I cringed over that. I did. He got a big one. Elias right now is just gimmick fodder, and so Roode got the win.
And that's wonderful. Yeah, he okay. No, Bobby Roode is I'll get heat for this. I'm sure. Bobby Roode is at an AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor level. He is that good in the ring.
He is really good. He just needs to find that something that he's missing right now. Great,
Mr. Cherry.
This is a little slight tangent off of what we were just talking about, but name a dancing gimmick that has ever gotten over to a main event level.
Main event level? You can't.
No.
I said main event.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, he might have main evented like worldwide once.
But Disco was in the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Disco was also TV champion. Doesn't mean it meant anything. Hacksaw was TV champion after he found it in the trash.
I am convinced that both Hacksaw and Disco main evented Saturday night as TV champion. Look it up. It happened.
Well, worldwide.
Lance Storm's one that's crying.
I could main event worldwide here. Let's be honest.
There's going to be some comments on that trolling now, Jeff or Greg. Well, Greg about the dancing gimmick that got to the main event because there isn't any.
The closest. Sorry, Jeff. It's fine. We need like buzzers or something. The closest anybody has come to getting a dancing gimmick over big time, Rikishi. That is the closest. Yeah. And technically too cool because they were the ones who started it and Rikishi joined in. Yeah. But Rikishi was the main event star out of those three.
Well, Shawn Michaels would do his little dance.
He does a little dance, but dancing was not his gimmick.
He was like a playgirl gimmick.
Stripping, pulling his tights down during his victory celebration.
And interruptions are okay here. If you've ever seen Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, pardon the interruption, we all respect each other here, and we let each other finish. So
Really?
it's all good. It's all good.
Aaron has no idea who those people are.
Exactly. Yeah, I want Aaron to make a shirt now. Jeff Beecham can main event worldwide. The worldwide logo on the shirt. I want
Jeff Beecham worldwide.
Jeff Beecham worldwide, and just have me slide into the ring on the back of the shirt.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I just wanted to add. I wanted to add real quick. The Usos, another team talking about teams that turned heel and they really developed their characters. And I also wanted to say that there's guys that are heels that I think should be faces. Rusev being the perfect example. That guy, I think he should just go out there and be like Goldberg, just smash people, crush people as only Rusev can. The crowd loves him, so just go with it. Stop fighting it. But that's
and they finally did with Strowman. You know?
Exactly. Just let them go out there and just destroy people. That's what fans want to see. With Goldberg, it was simple. Goldberg came out there and just beat people up, and people were entertained. It was very simple. Same thing with Rusev. Rusev could just go out there and crush. Rusev crush. That's all you got to do.
Goldberg didn't beat one guy up technically, and that was Mr. William Regal.
Yeah, I know. And I love revision history. Going back when WCW never beat WWE. WCW had Goldberg run through 173 people, and yes, he beat Regal in that streak. It just wasn't a pretty match. Oh. Goldberg came to WWE and was in a Goldust wig week 2.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
don't remind us, Jeff.
We've talked about WWE pretty much the whole show. Main event time, and this is the buzz I always look for in wrestling. Chris Jericho is heading back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He attacked Naito. And I like that guy. I mean, he was kind of boring in New Japan, and I think he did a stint in Mexico where he went and did some stuff over there, came back, and New Japan has pushed him to the moon. Chris Jericho's back. Now, interestingly enough, the Cow Palace event in San Francisco, ticket sales have been slow. Probably half of those have been sold to Meltzer fans. Now, with that said, Jericho all of a sudden pops back up, and we know he's going to have a match with Naito. But it's going to happen at Dominion. So is this going to be one of those where they're doing that match so Jericho can get like a cheap win, get some more heat, and do the payoff at the Cow Palace? I want to know everyone's thoughts because, quite honestly, I don't pay attention too much outside of WWE, maybe a little bit of Ring of Honor. I've totally forgot about Impact. But when Jericho pops up in New Japan, I get interested. Is Jericho a ticket seller? Obviously, he brought in a lot of extra eyeballs and sold seats at Wrestle Kingdom. So, Aaron, I want to start with you. I love this. This is great.
Yeah, well, I think Jericho is definitely needed for that Cow Palace show. I mean, if it was me in charge, I would have Jericho. I think it's a title match, right? I'm not sure exactly what the title situation is, but I think Jericho should win, and they should do a rematch at the Cow Palace. I think they're going to need it. They sold about 3,500 tickets, and it's pretty much been very front-loaded. The people that were going to go bought the tickets, and there's only that small core group of fans that were planning to go to the show. Now you have about 6,000 tickets you still need to sell. So I think it would be a great idea to have Jericho beat Naito and do a rematch at the Cow Palace show, maybe bring in Rey Mysterio, maybe bring in a few other American stars, and hopefully they can get the ticket sales up for it. It just goes to show that even a promotion like New Japan with all their buzz, all their 6-star Meltzer matches, it's still a struggle to draw in the United States. Now, granted, they're coming about 3 months after the Long Beach show, and also you got the All In show. So there might be some East Coast fans that opt to go to All In instead of New Japan because it's closer for them. But yeah, I'm hoping we see Jericho and Mysterio at the Cow Palace. That should definitely be entertaining.
Naito.
Well, no, I'm saying
you said Mysterio.
Yeah, I'm saying Mysterio should be there too in terms of trying to boost up the ticket sales. And I'm looking forward to that show. I'm looking forward to meeting up with Kyle and Cindy and a few other people I haven't seen in a long time. I heard Meltzer's charging something like $70 to go do his podcast, but maybe you guys can come and hang out with us for free. Who knows?
Now, Aaron, for the New Japan fans, I don't believe Naito is a champion. I don't think he's got a title right now.
Yes, he does.
Which one is it?
He is the Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, okay. Now, the last time, he beat Jay Switchblade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. First of all, I think if Meltzer has a podcast he's doing, I think we should go and make him feel awkward and invade his show. We should make him feel awkward in his moment.
No, because I'm actually going to go and do my own thing. You know, it's NoDQ's 20th anniversary, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with my NoDQ
But it's
team.
so much more fun to make people feel awkward in their surroundings. It's more fun that way, right? Okay. Anyway. I'm a dick, whatever. I'll own it later. The fact of the matter is, we've got Dominion coming up. We've got Naito and Jericho, and we have Okada Omega again. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit. This show is going to turn people on their ear. It's going to be a great show. And you've got, Evo and Sonata against the Bucks. You've got Elgin and Goto and Taichi. I'm trying to read the card here. And Mysterio's wrestling at this show. As is Will Ospreay against the Super Juniors winner. So it's going to be a stacked card going into the Cow Palace after that. It's going to be... I almost wish I hadn't canceled my New Japan subscription to do something else, because I literally got New Japan subscription on January 1st, going into Wrestle Kingdom, because I was listening to Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. I have not touched the thing since.
Wow.
Jeff, wow. My correction, Jay White, I believe, is the U.S. champion. The U.S. champion. And
right.
So look at them. They got a U.S. and Intercontinental, too. Greg, any thoughts on Chris Jericho, New Japan?
I enjoyed his match with Kenny Omega. Admittedly, the only New Japan match I've ever seen. And you know what? You can't fault us for being, you're not a hardcore wrestling fan because you don't watch New Japan. You don't watch Ring of Honor, PWG, Progress Wrestling, and all these other indie events. It's like, do you know how much time there is in a day? It's like, I work 60 hours a week. I barely have time for Raw and SmackDown. Give me a break. But I do hope that Jericho brings more eyes to New Japan, because while it may not be to the level of competition to WWE that WCW was, it gives people alternatives. It gives them something else to watch. And, Cody Rhodes, the Bullet Club, and all of them, they're doing well in New Japan. The Bucks, as we mentioned earlier. So I hope it does well for them. I want the business as a whole to succeed, not just a WWE guy that only watches WWE programming. And, well, lately I have been. But I want the business as a whole to succeed. I want Impact Wrestling to come back to where it used to. I want Ring of Honor to succeed. I want all these places to succeed because I care about the business as a whole, not just WWE.
Good point.
The fact
and
that
go ahead, Rich, I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to say, if I was New Japan, again, I don't pay attention unless it's a big Omega match coming up where Chris Jericho's there. At Dominion, have Chris Jericho, if this is a title match, have him become the IWGP Intercontinental Champion and then defend it again at Cow Palace, and Naito can win it back. That's 101 right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do.
Jeff?
Three out of the 4 of us in this room have had some sort of indie experience where we've been at ringside or whatever, and it's the business thrives because it trickles down from the top. If WWE is doing well, then we all do well underneath it. And Aaron has made his living. He's made his life's work the last 20 years covering this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So if the business doesn't work, then Aaron doesn't work. And if Aaron doesn't work, none of us are in this room. And if we don't have the indie circuit, then it's a trickle down. The fact is, WWE is making money hand over fist. Their stock is up, so they don't think there's a problem.
Right.
And to go back on that, we watch New Japan, we like New Japan, but we're not going to fly halfway around the world to see New Japan show live. We have to wait till they come to the Cow Palace. They have to come to Long Beach.
Yeah, exactly. But, Jeff, you said it very well about wanting the indies and wanting Impact to succeed. And that's what I've been saying for the longest time. People that say I'm anti-Impact or anti-ROH, I mean, that is the farthest from the truth, because when I was doing the best business with the site was when there was competition. That was when wrestling was the hottest, when you had the most eyeballs watching. So it's in my best interest running a business for wrestling to be hot. I want to see it succeed. I want to see Impact Wrestling succeed. Seeing them fail is the last thing I want to see. But I call it as I see it. When Nitro went off the air, it was a dark day for the business. And then you had TNA try to go head-to-head. But that January 4th, I was very critical about that Impact Wrestling show, and people were getting on my case about it, but I was just calling it as I saw it. So people think I have some sort of bias or whatever. That is as far from the truth as humanly possible. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, people don't understand that Aaron and I were in the trenches when TNA was in the trenches. Aaron and I were going to these independent shows in Southern California when the TNA guys were sent out, and we were talking to TNA. Hey, can we have this guy on our show? Oh, yeah, go for it. Please give us the exposure. WWE didn't want anything to do with us. We literally had one WWE superstar on our video show while he was still under contract, and that was Rob. And Rob doesn't give a shit anyway. He's like, yeah, we'll be on the show. Rob doesn't care. Everybody else, we called Mick Foley when he was under contract with WWE in 2004. I was living with Dylan's mom at the time. We had a voicemail on our phone from Mick Foley saying he had to go through the office. I love to do it, but the office won't let me.
Right.
WWE could not care unless you're a main media outlet or you're a media outlet for the area. They don't care. They
CBS Sports.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not
Sports
CBS Sports,
Illustrated.
it's the CBS Sports or the Rolling Stone, they don't care. And the fact of the matter is, in 2002 and 2004, when we were doing this, TNA needed that kick in the butt from guys like me, guys like Aaron.
Well, here's a funny thing I wanted to add. I did buy a ticket for the New Japan show. I did not get a comp or anything like that. I did email them, though, a couple weeks back, and I asked them about possibly getting a press pass for the show, and I never heard back from them. So just throwing that out there. I'm not Dave Meltzer, so apparently I'm not good enough.
And you know what? The fact of the matter is, Meltzer's much like Vince. Vince makes his money. He's happy. Meltzer has the marks that suck up to him and wait up to him on the shore, and he gets off on them. Good for him. The quote Jeff Meacham, here's the thing. I watch a WWE-produced podcast, Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, and Conrad Thompson reads off of Meltzer's scripts to review stuff. I'm like, why?
Well, Meltzer's had the end since the 80s, maybe before,
And that's fine, but if you listen to Eric Bischoff's podcast with Conrad will read off, like for example, they went over the Finger Poke of Doom earlier this week, and Conrad's reading off, like, what? And Bischoff goes, why are you reading Meltzer's stuff? Why is Meltzer so important? I'm like, thank you, Eric. We give him too much credibility. We all do.
Interesting. Well, that's all I got for this week. Around the horn one more time. Anybody want to bring up something? Or if not, just do your plugs.
Jeff, why don't we start with you since you got that lovely hat?
I do. I want to let people know that if they want to have this hat made, email Aaron, and I will email the guys. Aaron's going to be down. When you come to visit again?
November. Survivor Series.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I'm going to San Francisco for the New Japan show, but
that's way up there. I'm way down here. Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to get the hats produced. NoDQ.com's Instagram. There we go. Instagram.com/NoDQ DOTCOM. I've kind of got the control of that. I'm doing the posting. We're going to have an Instagram Q&A every Wednesday around 7 Eastern, hopefully. Like yesterday was crazy. But I want to get that Instagram page more of a following. That way we have a platform that's on Instagram too. Because we have the Twitters, right, and Aaron has the Facebook for NoDQ, but Instagram's just kind of like there.
Yeah, start posting some memes.
Well, that's the goal. I'm gonna start posting memes. I'm gonna start posting, different Q&A's videos. I may even have people in the chat with me. Like if I bring somebody that I know, I'll bring them in the video with me. We'll just BS.
Sounds good.
Just something to engage. And of course, YouTube.com/Jeff Meacham. You can find Talk Wrestling there. You can find whatever I feel like doing that day. And my Instagram has a Raw and SmackDown preview because I'm that bored on the Monday afternoon.
Right on. Don't forget NoDQ.com/Jeff. By the way.
Yes, /Jeff.
I think so NoDQ.com/Jeff.
Yes.
/virtue/
Greg.
What do you have, Greg? Cool. Mr. Cherry.
Yes. Wrestling Trivia Challenge. I defend my title against Kyle Mach tomorrow. Or if this goes up Thursday night, it's Friday, whatever. And then I'll probably retain against Kyle because it's Kyle.
Whoa.
Greg, if you lose to Kyle, we're not friends anymore.
Now wait
simple
a minute.
Hold
on a ton-picking minute. Kyle almost beat Greg. If it wasn't for your controversial sudden death round, Kyle might have.
We didn't have that set up, to be fair. We didn't have that set up properly, but it is what it is. I'll take care of Kyle. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's going to stub the toe. Greg's going to stub the toe that runs the show.
I like that. That was beautiful.
I should have used that in my promo. Damn it. Anyway, Wrestling Trivia Challenge. Buy the shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, NoDQ. Also, and this is completely random, I got my own Pro Wrestling Tees store coming out soon, so I get my own merch, which is pretty sweet because I only got the one shirt that's specifically for me, but I'm going to have a couple. So we'll find out about that once the shirts designs get approved, and I'll let everybody know about that. And
buy a shirt.
Yep.
Nice NWO
that's it for me.
throwback.
Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, Mr. Rift.
Oh, I'm not going last year? Okay. I see how it is. NoDQ.com/
I do.
NoDQ.com/shirts is the URL, the direct URL to go over to the Pro Wrestling Tees store if you want to buy a t-shirt. Greg Cherry's t-shirt is still available there, so make sure you pick one up. Pick up a Virtue shirt that he's wearing right there. Pick up a Talk Wrestling shirt that Jeff is wearing. and check out the other NoDQ team members, NoDQ.com/Kyle/Cindy/Jeff, the other Jeff, Geoff, not Jeff. There's 2 Jeffs on NoDQ.com. Robert, Mr. Spiffy is on there. He's going to be at the Cow Palace for that show, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Kayfabe Candy Ass even has a URL, NoDQ.com/KCA for Kayfabe Candy Ass. Let's not forget our good buddy Tyler, TJS, NoDQ.com/TJS. I think I got all the top people. There's a few other ones as well. I posted a full list over on NoDQ's Twitter page, so check that out. And of course, NoDQ.com/Twitter, NoDQ.com/Facebook. You guys like how I did all these little custom URLs? To make it easy for everybody to remember if you're trying to find a specific page or social media account. So that's all I got to say. I'm at AaronRiff.com. Check me out. And
is there a NoDQ.com/Instagram?
I need to make that. I will make that.
You need to make that because you keep me busy. There you go.
Maybe I should make a NoDQ.com MySpace too while I'm at it.
Yes, MySpace. Yay.
Did you have a MySpace, Virtue?
I once did, but yeah, that was 10, 15 years ago.
NoDQ.com/LiveJournal.
All right, Virtue.
Speaking of social media, I have a lot of different things that I do now on various sites, but my heart and soul is always with NoDQ. Go to my Twitter. That's the best way. I always pin the tweet of whatever my current column or video is. So at NoDQ_Virtue. And be sure to go to NoDQ.com right after you watch this video. Go to the opinion section. Look for the most recent Virtue's Rage. And you must watch. It's with me and Big G, used to be known as Certified G, Jeffrey, the state of the Roman Empire. And it's not your typical one. I had some very interesting points. And I don't want to spoil it because I want you to go watch the video. So that's all I got. So for Aaron Rift, for Mr. Greg Cherry, the PA Sensation, and for the West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham, I'm Virtue. See the NoDQ Galaxy next time.